fellow telecom engineers, members of media, labor leaders, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is always good to be at BSNL and with the telecom community. I am proud to be a member of this community. I have now spent about 47 years in telecom business. I started essentially in '65. Long way, and have seen lots and lots of interesting events, and the journey has been very rewarding. Journey has been rewarding because many people like you all have been with it, have supported it, worked very hard, and together not only we have made contribution, but we have come a long way. First, I want to compliment Sunil Kakkad and SIS along with Mr. Upadhyay and BSNL for launching this new service. I hope it takes roots, flourishes, and provides unique services to large number of people in the country. 25 years ago, we talked about STD-PCO. 25 years down the road, we are talking about VCO. 25 years have gone by just like that. Seems like yesterday. Video is becoming more and more prominent mode of communication. I can tell you in my case, never in my life I realized that I would use video as much as I use now, mainly because I have a granddaughter who is 18 months old, and she Skypes me every day. It is amazing. And she knows how to Skype. 18 months old. This is the generation we are living with. She would Skype and say, Dada, so, like a little kid, I would also respond. She would say, play drum, so I'll play drum for her. It is unbelievable to see the use of video in a very different way. My first interaction with video telephony was in 1965 when I worked for GTE. I was asked to look at bandwidth compression techniques for video call. Then I had an opportunity to look at a lot of these pictel and number of dots and the bandwidth required, and we worked on plasma display then. Then also people thought it will take maybe 5 years to get a video phone. It took almost 40. Everything takes much longer than we expect and costs much longer than we plan. And video is no exception. This is indeed a great initiative. I looked at the brochure sitting there. Unfortunately, it doesn't talk about the real use for migrant workers. Sunil mentioned it, but to me the most interesting thing about this service is thousands and thousands of migrant workers from Bihar, Orissa, UP, you name it, who are moving all over in India looking for jobs, and they are losing contact with their parents, children, family. And it is for them, video, according to me, would play an important role. So they could, on a festival, birthday, connect and see face of their loved ones. I would suggest that you analyze this little carefully and not just focus on business meetings, teleeducation, job interviews, astrology, railway ticketing, which are all important. But let's study a little more corridors of movement of money by migrant workers. And that will tell you a little bit about the traffic pattern. If people are sending money from Delhi to a specific corridor in Bihar or Orissa, then you know that there is a large need for migrant workers to connect with their loved ones. That is your traffic pattern. I think this would be a great tool for them, more so than anybody else. There is a window of opportunity, and I think you need to quickly look at that as opposed to more video centers in Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, and others. Broadband is going to be the future, but the key is the applications. I have said recently that the first phase of the telecom revolution is beginning to end. Now we are a nation of connected billion. The second phase of the telecom revolution is about to begin. We know it is broadband, but we really don't know what would broadband really do. So we need local applications, local content. We need focus on education, health, and it is not about taking existing educations and put it in broadband. It is really about creating new models of education. It's about new models of health delivery systems. It's not about just take your book, scan it and put it on screen. It's about creating whole new content, and that's where innovation is required. I am worried that we don't have enough people thinking about new ways of doing things. I've seen Akash tablet, which is good, as an example of what we can do in education. But then if the teacher is still insisting that you do your homework like this, and if teacher is still going to insist that I want written on piece of paper, I don't know how far these things will go. So we need new business models, new delivery systems, and we also need teachers to change. Teacher is no longer going to deliver content and create content. Teacher will have to be a mentor. What does it mean for teacher to change from being a teacher to that serve as a mentor? These are huge challenges. As you know, this government is investing huge amount of money and resources in building public information infrastructure for the future. We have a national knowledge network which has been built with the help of BSNL and others, Power Grid, RailTel, where we are already connected to over 1,000 points with gigabit bandwidth to connect all our universities, all our R&D labs, many part of our libraries, clusters, to begin to collaborate better, because all research today require multidisciplinary approach, is happening faster than before, and require a great deal of collaboration. So through NKN we need to learn to collaborate better. And believe me, we are not good at collaborations. In government we lack collaborations, in universities we lack collaborations, in industry we lack collaborations, and in research also. We have a lot to learn about collaboration. Two, we are connecting, like Mr. Upadhyay said, 250,000 panchayats to optical fiber. But what do you do with optical fiber at panchayat? I have a meeting this afternoon with Jairam Ramesh on some of these issues, saying, fine, you got broadband at panchayat, what next? It is not about improving productivity of the government using broadband. It is all about what do people at the end of the day, citizens, get out of it. How do you transform their lives? How do you simplify things for them? So these are only two pieces of public information infrastructure activities. NKN and connectivity to Panchayat. In addition, we have Nandan working on UID, Dr. Kasturi Rangan working on GIS, Dr. Garola working on applications, payment, procurement, data centers. Sum total, I am told we have about 10,000 software people today working on public information infrastructure and related software. We are computerizing courts. I have another meeting this afternoon to computerize prisons and computerize police stations. Because if you don't computerize these two, computerization of courts don't do anything. Every one of these activities require video conferencing, broadband connection, collaboration, new processes, and everyone will have to learn to do things differently, including judges, not just teachers. This is all about building new India. Believe me, it's a huge task. There'll be resistance, there'll be confusion, but the cat is out of the bag. It's already happening. And that's where we need to focus on young generation. Senior people want status quo, rightfully so. Teachers still want to teach from the same notebook that teacher taught 20 years ago. I used to have a professor who took great pride in saying that my notes have not changed for 20 years. Those days are over. You got to change every month. Things are happening too fast. And that's where I think today's event is important. It is a step in the right direction. It is all about connecting faces. It is all about looking at emotions. And I believe when we have this public information infrastructure, the largest amount of traffic is going to come from peer-to-peer video. I don't know how we are going to handle it. In a country of 1 billion people, can you imagine 400 million on video at night trying to talk to each other? What kind of bandwidth you need? What kind of network you would need? How do you do this? What kind of software you will have to design? This is a huge challenge. Nobody in the world has ever addressed this. Even when people talk about YouTube and Skype, the numbers are very different. When India tackles a problem like this, with 1 billion people, dimension is completely different. The project we have on public information infrastructure is the largest ever undertaken by anybody. When Mr. Obama was here, I mentioned to him about this, I briefed him on it, and he was quite shocked and surprised and said, wow, what a vision. How do you think like this, he said. I said, look, we have no options. If we want to build new India, we got to take these steps. Fortunately, we have government that is willing to support. No government that I know of today in the world would spend 100,000 crores in building public information infrastructure of the future. This government is doing it. We don't get much credit for it. It is that kind of long-term vision you need. It's not any different from what we did 25 years ago. When people used to criticize, saying these are computer boys, what do they know about computers? India needs water, agriculture, rightfully so. I think today we are in the same boat, 25 years down the road. The steps we are taking seem wild, crazy at times, but are very important to the future of India. Especially in a country where you have 550 million young below age of 25. You got to create new tools for them. Textbook, I would like to see a day where we will not be able, or we will not print any textbooks. I think that's a 5-year down the road and not 50-year down the road. Why do you need textbook? I see little kids on the street carrying 20-pound bag of books in their back. Little fellow, week, that scene will be seen of the past. I want him or her to carry one little Akash tablet and go to school and do all the homework there. It is going to happen, I can assure you. Question is how quickly we can get there. Same way, doctors don't go to villages. Can we take on cell phone medical information? All of this needs new thinking, but at the core of it is broadband, telecom, IT, software, applications, local content, relevant content, useful content to basically transform lives of the millions and millions. And that's where my telecom community has a role to play. So today may seem like a little box in a little corner somewhere, but in the back of it is a lot more that you all have worked on. So I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm delighted to be part of this. It is interesting for me also to remember 25 years ago the events we had. I remember MTNL chairman Mr. Shukla came to me and he said, "Sir, I've designed this booth, telephone booth." And he had lined up all the telephone booths. And that day I had a heart attack. And I was at the hospital. And I said, I still want to go see those booths because I was so excited. But doctors won't let me go. So he got all the pictures to hospital and we started essentially setting up a office at my hospital. Those were romantic days. These are also romantic days in a different way, but for different generation. We are all too old. So I wish younger generation will carry this forward. I wish you all lots of luck. I'm delighted to be party to it. And I hope we all get to celebrate this great event. But make sure that the focus is on the migrant worker and not on the business meetings. Make sure that they get the best part of this service. And you design this service to meet their needs. They will pay, believe me. Don't underestimate their desire to pay. With this, I again want to compliment SIS, Sunil Kakkad, and BSNL, Mr. Upadhyay, and all those who worked on this service. I know many people have put in long hours, and I'm impressed that everything worked. Normally, at these things don't work. Something happens at the last minute. So we were lucky that everything worked. And congratulations.